Stepped in the game, ain't seen a star yet. Most of your mans ain't seen a marsh yet. Stepped in the game, ain't seen a star yet. Most of your mans ain't seen a marsh yet. Ooh, it's not a throne till I sit in your chair. It's not a throne till I sit in your chair.
So let's kick off the debate. The question is feminism damaging the black community? So I'm going to kick that off to the men's side of the table to find out what they think. So is it damaging the black community?
I personally think yes. Yeah.
What would you say? Yes. Let's go with yes or no's and then we'll kick into why.
Okay, so say the question again.
Is feminism damaging to the black community?
I'm definitely going to say yes.
Okay.
With the lads,
Yeah. Alright, so why? Tell us why you think that.
First thing that I think is feminism doesn't actually look at the difference in races between black women and white women and how they have had a different history. They've recently brought it into it through intersection, basically intersection inside the races, inside feminism, but it's more of a recent outlook, and that's only come about because of the recent uprising inside black people complaining and talking about racism inside the media. So that's the only reason why it's even come about in the first place. So for us to be looking towards feminism, which was a movement started inside 1903 by a white woman,
Jesus
it was
Christ,
clearly
man, got facts and statistics, you know.
I know the truth in it.
Right, somebody Wikipedia.
I know the truth in it. Check it out.
Check
Check it out. Check it out. There's going to be a movie coming out
Yeah.
about the history of it, or called The Suffragettes. Now that highlights exactly how it all started, and one of the key phrases used for feminism back then was, "I'd rather be a rebel than a slave." So what is that highlighting in terms of black people and race compared to feminism and white women? You get what I mean? So it's a clear difference for what feminism really meant, and for us to be jumping on a bandwagon created by a white feminist movement to then say we're going to create a black version of it, when we've actually already started a version called Africana Womanism, which was created inside 1985 by Alice Walker.
Yeah.
And then it was then developed by Hudson Queen or something like that.
So
it's a complete different concept.
Feminism as a concept existed before westernized feminism existed. So the idea of feminism and women's empowerment happened way before the 60s and the suffragettes. So as with everything, white people kind of co-opt things and make it their own and take it away from the place where it originated from.
Okay.
So why does that mean that we as black women can't then decide that we still want to fight for our empowerment and we still want to have these things under the banner of feminism? Be that.
In fact, you know what, before we go any further, I think the three of you ladies need to kind of give us your answers as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so my answer is no, I wouldn't say that it's damaging the black community. I think people's perceptions, men's perceptions of what feminism is damaging the black community, but feminism itself, I don't think it's damaging anything.
I don't think it is at all. I don't see what's wrong with highlighting that in the black community. There are problems with misogyny, with sexism. I don't see the problem with highlighting those issues at all. And I don't see the problem with giving women the power that they might feel they need to liberate themselves from certain situations, which I feel feminism provides. I can understand why men feel it's attack on them because, it's about women, we've got to empower ourselves, blah, 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 and you lot have been at the top for a while. We're talking about within the black community. Within the black community, men, it's men, then women and family, do you know what I'm saying?
What do you think it is now?
I still think it's the same. I still think it's the same. I just think that...
Are you happy with that, or...?
No, I'm not happy with that.
How would you like it to be?
Hold on, can we just let Shirley... She hasn't had her chance yet, so is feminism damaging the black community?
I'm like half and half, really.
Go on, show.
Go on, show.
Yeah. Go on, show.
I think women should be independent and things like that, but sometimes it can have an effect when settling down and things like that. So I don't really.
An effect
depends.
In what way?
Like you're just too independent, that your standards are too high. You can't be realistic about what's expect.
If only we had some
No,
sound
no,
effects
no,
or
no,
some
no,
horns.
no, no,
Wait,
Let me jump in.
Yeah, go on.
Say something there.
Okay,
Something
go on
key
then.
she
Say
said,
something key.
be realistic.
Oh, that was
That's,
beautiful.
that's a word I don't see get
Many
used
women
used
skating.
often. You
Yeah.
understand? Realism.
Yeah.
So a lot of women don't use it. But when you said we've had it our own way too long.
And who's we?
This is
Black
Because
men.
I don't think
Oh,
black
yeah,
men have had it
yeah,
our
like,
own way.
In a
In
whole,
terms-
I
okay, so in terms of on a world global scale, we're
Yeah.
not sitting here saying black men are equal to white men in terms of lording it over women
Alright,
on
let
the
me just say
planet.
this.
But in terms of our own community,
Yeah.
black men put themselves above black women, and they have done like historically.
I disagree
Church,
because
like, the man is the head. The man's
You
supposed
kinda-
to.
you're saying
run
that.
Alright then, so
things.
let me
And that's
ask.
how
Let me
people
just say,
feel.
let me just say something. You know, in the past, there used to always be a man in the house.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a man knew his responsibility.
Yeah.
But you know, like my generation, there's no man in the house no more. So I know it like.
Do you mean
So how
your
is that-
generation as in?
Well, I'm 35.
So
let's
I
say
think-
that
I think- I think it's a
my
generation
mum raised-
above as
my
well.
mum
Yeah,
raised
I think
me.
it's a generation above.
My mum raised me, and then obviously
When was
looking
your
around.
Yeah.
Before that, it was my granddad and my nan.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's no longer. That don't exist no more.
I
You
feel
understand
like
that?
I'm starting to see changes in terms of that.
What
with
type of
our
changes?
generation,
What type
like
of- Yeah.
people more trying to stay together as a family unit and do the whole family thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
and
think
raise their kids.
I
as
think the
part
black
of
men
a
that I know
family
about
household.
in today's society are better than like my dad's generation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think my dad's generation, who those were like 50, between 50 and
70.
yeah, I was gonna say about
Yeah.
65. So
Yeah.
yeah, between 50 and 70, I'd say that generation there was actually dog shit. They started off well with so like Rastafarians, like they was onto something then,
Yeah.
but somehow it just went to the.
Alright,
Oh,
go on.
really?
Hold on, let me get back to that back in the day thing, the granddads and that, because from my recollection, when my nan came here from Jamaica, was it Windrush?
Windrush,
She
yeah.
came here with my granddad. We was already together back in yard. My granddad, to be fair, didn't cheat until he got to England. To be fair,
The land of opportunity, temptation was killing it. Sexy white women just
I'm not gonna lie. The white woman was his kryptonite. To be fair.
Oh, you need to say how Mary after that. I'm gonna pour some liquor for your
I'm saying
no.
more time. They came here together, so they knew that they had to build together.
But he still
Yeah.
cheated.
Yeah. I
But
think
he's
back
still
in the
cheating.
day,
Okay, so-
black women
I don't
were
think he
more
cheated.
likely to put up
He
with
just
things
said
that
he
they wouldn't
cheated.
I think Corey's got wrong information.
I personally think
They split and then he done his thing in it, but whatever. And
There you go.
cheating. Are we talking about cheating as if it's like a part of feminism?
No, I don't know how
No,
we've
no.
ended up here. I was trying
We
to
just
bring it back.
sorry.
But yeah.
Okay.
But what I want to know then, as a woman, do you not seek for a man to be more dominant naturally anyway?
Dominant in what
In-
way?
yeah.
though?
It doesn't matter. I'm just asking.
Because
I just
a
mean
man
dominant
can
in
be
general.
dominant without trying to dominate me.
Exactly.
Like
Mhm.
oppressively
No,
dominate me.
but being dominant doesn't mean you have to dominate the
So
opposite
what do
sex.
you
Yeah, that's what
It's
I
not-
mean.
it just
So
mean-
it
I think
doesn't-
no. His
I don't-
question is pretty
So
straightforward.
what do you mean about?
Y'all are trying to find
You're trying to
loopholes.
find-
No,
What are you
I'm
trying to
trying
do?
to answer the question.
Well, it's a simple question.
So do I
you
want
not
a
look?
man
Do you
that's
not look
dominant?
for a man that is more dominant, or a man that's more able to lead? A man that looks for that has a certain mannerism about him that shows that he's a leader, that is strong, that is going to look after you, that he's going to be independent, that he's going to bring you stability. You look for a man that has this dominance.
Whoa! Don't even. You can't tell them what they like in a man.
But is
What
that
what
not-
they
is
used
that-
to
is that
actually
not
like
what
in
you
a. Sorry,
aim for? Is that not
I'm
what
not
you-
putting show in there. I'm asking you to
Why?
what they
Why is
used
she in
to
her own
what they
category
used
now?
to like in a man. Give me 3 attributes that a
Three
man
attributes
needs.
that a man needs to have. He needs to be strong.
Physically
needs-
or mentally.
Both. He needs to be strong physically and mentally.
Mhm.
He needs to have a certain level of intellect, I'd say.
Okay.
And he needs to be loyal to the family. Those are the
Okay.
three things
Explain
that I
loyal
look
to the
for.
family.
So if we're a family, we're a unit. I'm your woman, you're my man. We have kids, and that's it.
Sounds like
We're
a
just
to me.
us. That's who.
What do
we
you mean?
are.
That's us. What about
We're just us.
grandma?
Well, you know, you got your grandma.
Hold
your
on a minute.
granddad,
Hold on a minute.
But you
Yeah,
have
people
your
get
firm family unit who you live with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is it.
Womanism is
Loyal.
sort of a branch
What
of
makes you say it's
feminism, though.
womanism?
That's womanism.
That's a branch of feminism.
In what way is it
Feminism
womanism?
isn't
Hold
anti-man.
on,
See, that's
hold
the
on,
thing.
hold on.
Feminism
Hold on.
also encompasses men's rights and
Exactly.
things to do with men.
That's
Yeah.
But you're making the mistake that feminism is only about women, it's anti-men. Like, it's about women, but it's not anti-men.
Okay, so
No, I don't think no
women-
one said that.
no one said that, but womanism focuses on families and focuses on equality between everyone, including men and women. It focuses. It doesn't differ with the genders, and it doesn't say that anything to do with how men are this or men are that. Feminism is used as a way to attack men.
It's not.
You can't.
Some of it, not all of it.
I'm not
because
saying all of it.
that-
I'm
that'd
not
be
going
a
to say all
bold
of it. I'm not
statement.
going to say all of it. But
Well,
I'm saying
there's parts of-
feminism.
there's parts of
Okay.
it.
There's
Because-
bad apples in
because
every
you-
sort of.
Exactly.
You can't
I
necessarily
understand.
say that
You-
that's what feminism does.
But feminism.
There's radical
what I'm saying
feminists
to
who
you-
might
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah,
that,
different
but that's
that.
not necessarily what feminist. I wouldn't call them feminists. Like you wouldn't call ISIS Muslims. Like you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
that
well,
kind
well,
of.
they are.
They're not
Well, they are.
But you wouldn't
Hey,
say
hey,
that they
hey,
classify
behave, y'all.
you. They don't denote who you are.
Exactly.
They're a radical version of what you are.
Exactly.
So you wouldn't
But
align
that's
yourself.
not the
That's
whole-
what, but that's what black men experience, because that's what black men see. That's what we see out there. So if people are utilizing, I'm going to talk from my experience. I'm not going to talk from other people's.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So if that's my experience, I'm telling you right now that I see feminism used as a way to degrade men.
I see that.
And
yeah.
when
I
it's
think I
being
see
used,
bits
when
of
it's
that.
being used as
you
in
know
inside.
What way? Can you
To
just
be
see
fair,
how it's
there
turned
are
out?
You know what,
some
Corey?
people who
I want to
do
hear your
co-ops.
explanation. I want to hear your explanation on that one.
I'm with mine, man. I see it as well. More time when I see feminism, it's attacking the black man. It's nothing to uplift the black man or man in general.
Do you
It's
mean
all about-
feminism in
it's all-
general is
I see
attacking
things,
the
I see
black
things
man or just
about
us?
pay gaps. I see things about job selection.
I don't
And
even
what's
see
wrong
that. I don't
with-
even
What's
see
wrong
all
with
of
talking
that.
about
What's wrong
pay
with
gap?
talking about
Oh,
that?
but I'm
What's wrong with
talking
talking about
about
pay gap
About
between
pay
men and
gap.
women?
Gender pay gap.
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
wrong
I
with
see that.
talking about
Have,
that?
have you seen pay gaps?
Nothing wrong with
There
talking
is
about
pay
it,
gaps, but
There
it's
are
it's-
pay gaps.
Where's the
There
pay gap?
is.
Hold on.
It
Where's the
differs
pay
in
gap?
selection
There's
of the-
pay gaps
where's
within
the pay gap?
gender, and then when you split that
Hold on.
down,
Where?
you
No,
split
where?
races as
Where?
well.
No, I'm
And if
asking
you look
you.
at the pay gaps
Listen
between
to the
races,
question.
black men are still earning more than black
No,
women.
they're not.
No,
Yes,
they're
they
not.
are.
No,
Yes, they are.
Listen
no,
to
Yeah.
the question.
No, no,
Yes, they
definitely
are.
not.
Come on,
What
answer
profession?
your
What
question.
profession?
Go on,
Hold on,
go
listen
on,
to my question,
Right,
mate.
give it
Listen
to
to my
them.
exact question. My question is, where are these wage gaps? I'm not saying who's missing out on the wage gaps. I'm saying where are these jobs that you are talking about where the wage gaps are? Who owns
The
these
CEO
companies?
jobs?
Who owns these companies that you are referring to? All these companies that you are referring to is inside the UK, owned by white business owners. These white business owners do not care about you being black as a female naturally anyway.
You think? If that's the case, so how come there's not a lot of black women on CEO positions?
Exactly what I just said, because they do not care for you being a black woman.
I mean, you said it as if they don't care, as if, oh, I'm still human, they'll just promote me anyway, but no.
But you're
They care, they very much care, they see my colour, they
They
see
see
as
your
I'm a
colour.
black woman, and they care. That's why they don't hire, that's why they don't hire you, but they'll hire me less. Because I'm a woman on top of that as well.
But that's what I'm saying. They
I'm
don't.
black
They don't. They
and
don't.
I'm a woman.
But
I
that's
have
what I'm
to
saying. They
deal
don't.
with
They
both
don't.
prejudice.
They don't show care as in you're a human, because they're looking at you saying you're black, so I don't care whether you have this job or not, whether you can make money for your family or not, whether your family has success, whether your family has generational wealth. I don't give two fucks. That's what they're basically saying. So when you talk about these big wage gaps, it's not black men that's oppressing you with
No
these
one
wage
said
gaps.
it was.
Nobody
No
said
one
it
said
was.
it was black men.
Yeah.
We're just
You feel
But
might
hold
feel
on.
that way, but
But
the
nobody
only
said
reason
that.
why we're focusing on the black community for this conversation is because we're all black, and I want to talk about it from our perspective of how it affects us.
Do you think that
So,
affects
but that-
a black household if the woman's wages is more than the man's?
Does it affect the household?
Yeah,
I
like
think
the
it
relationship between a man and a
It
woman.
can. It
In
can
what
affect the
way?
relationship, because sometimes, a man's got an ego. He wants to feel like he's the person that's the provider, because society tells him as a man he's supposed to provide, pay for everything, look after the home.
I don't think
So
that's
then,
society.
if it
Society,
is society,
yeah.
so
It's
if
society.
if there's a woman who is earning more than the man, then
But that's society telling
that's
women
not
that that's
society.
how they're supposed to
It
think.
is
The reason-
society.
the reason-
Is that society of men or is that society of
That's
women?
society
Society.
pushing the idea
I
onto
wanna-
people
I
that
wanna
Do you,
say
men.
this.
wait there.
I just wanna
Do
say
you
this.
guys mind, for you two, do you mind
I
if
don't
your
care.
woman earns more than you?
I don't care. You want to know why?
Corey?
Because life is
Business.
about independence. life isn't about anything else besides from independence. So why should I care whether she earns more than me?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I need to be independent for myself, and
So
if
I
I'm
think-
not stable for myself, I shouldn't even be going into a relationship because.
Yeah,
Because I think
Well,
Naomi,
that's
you
fair.
said
Yeah.
you says that one of your attributes in men will be strength.
Yeah.
I think a strong man would not care if his woman earns more. He would still be the same man he was.
Yeah, but not all men have that strength.
Yeah.
Like,
But the
not
type
all
of
men have that.
I think the type of men that women want and the type of men women choose are two different things.
Girls want to date.
No, I
don't know if you
That's
can
what they want to date. They
generalise.
want to date.
You
the
can,
I don't think
because
you can
if I was to
generalise
ask
like
everybody, every black woman, every black man, their attributes, and then who they actually end up with, I guarantee the person that they actually end up with is not going to be the person that had this box, tick that box, tick that box, tick that box. So I feel like that's where problems come.
Let me give this.
I don't know.
I've seen women say
Yeah.
they want a geezer that's, I don't know, he's loyal, he's hard working, and then he's got a profession, does all these things, and then they end up with a drug dealer that's locked up.
My guy,
Listen,
my
hold on.
guy, Corey.
Writing them letters
There you
saying,
go.
yo, when I get out, it's me and you. You see, the second my man gets out, he's on heat.
Yep.
You see him, be a gal, different fashions than when he went in, and he just wants to kick down anything that moves.
And I think that's
And
why
that-
when Show D says you gotta be realistic, you really do. You have to be real with yourself. Don't just say this is what I want. Know that this is what I want. Like believe in it.
And the thing
Because
is,
I don't
that
think a lot of
influences-
women.
The thing is that will influence men because we're talking about feminism. In order to change or stop feminism, you need to change the way how men think. Now, if you go around and you actually do that, then you're not actually helping change the way how men need to think because men are just going to think, well, if she's going to do that, then
Well,
But how are we
So,
supposed to change how
just
you...
literally,
Well, to be honest-
literally, like what this has just identified is stick to what you say you want.
Yeah.
Because if you stick to
Yeah,
what you
but
say you
people
want,
change.
that means
Like,
that you're
you're
on a
not
curve.
factoring
Well,
in
you're going to be
growth.
curving.
In what
when
way?
you're a young woman,
Yeah.
you might just be out here like, I just want a man with a car.
No, I'm not
and-
talking about being young. I'm
Right,
talking
well,
from
un-
today onwards.
Understand this, yeah. You can be a woman and say, yo, I want a man with a car, money, and you ain't thinking about where he's getting this money and this car from. Then all of a sudden, bam, you linked with a youth. My man leaves you. You're in a different situation than when you was young and you're 35 now. And then all of a sudden, everything changed, and then you want to step back and say, all right, then what I want now, I want that CEO with a nice job and the car. And
No.
when he looks on you, he's
That's
thinking
not
about.
necessarily-
hold on,
I
this is
don't-
what it-
that's
But this
because
is what
of
we
growth.
see, though. This is what we see. We see people make mistakes when they're young, and then when they get older, and let's say like, sorry to use this word, but the stock value kind of drops off.
Stock value.
What about your stock value?
Stock
It's the
value.
same.
What
It's
about
the same.
your
It
stock
works
value?
with men and women.
So
It's
does
works
your
with
stock
men and
value-
women. Valuation works with men and women. It's not
Let me
sexist.
finish.
It's not
finish. I know.
It's not sexist.
It is sexist.
It works both sides.
Alright, so your stock value will also be
Listen,
valuable.
when I say stock
Okay,
value,
alright.
Let me say, when I say stock value, I mean
I'm gonna
things
go
like
for the
this.
road.
Yes, please. Like, yo.
When you're 18,
My God.
What your
What
stock
you
value's
can
up
shoot
here,
for
is
is
it?
different
When
than
you're
when you're
18, your
50.
stock's
That's
up
that's
here.
what I mean when I say your stock value. You
Here's the
understand?
best way to say it. You know, like, not to be disrespectful in any way, but women have technically a time limit for children, which is up to like around 50 or up until they can't have children, which means from 18, you are inside a great age for, if you're a man that's aiming to reproduce and do what you're meant to do as a man inside the world of genetics and whatever, then your aim will be 18, I've got enough time to make as many kids as I want, which means your value is going to be higher than if I was to try and pick you up at the age of 40. So it's not a disrespect when a man talks
So
about
what
value.
part of this
but
is not sexist when you're talking about a
but
woman's
how is that
value?
sexist? That's the truth.
Wait,
That's
wait,
facts.
wait.
Is
When
that
did your
facts?
value start going down?
My,
Because
I don't, me
oh,
personally,
because
me
men
personally,
can't have
me
countries
personally,
wherever they
me
want, so their
personally,
value
me
they don't have.
personally,
You know, man's value, yeah, it's like peaking, like it's in its peak at like 40, because that's when he says really should be like financially stable. Then he knows what he wants in life.
So a
That's
man's
when
value is
it's-
related to
it's
money,
different.
and a
And
woman's value is related to
a body.
her womb and her eggs.
Right.
it's the,
Oh
like I
my
said,
God.
nah,
I'm
nah,
bringing
nah,
it
nah,
back,
that's just
bringing it back,
facts.
because this is off topic. So
Tangent.
we're still on the topic of feminism damaging the black community. So you still haven't told me ways in which you feel it is damaging. So how is it damaging?
I feel like the independence that some women want and say that they claim, I believe that you take it too far sometimes. And sometimes a man needs to realize he was born a man and he is a man. A woman needs to realize she was born a woman and she's a woman.
And what
The
does
two
that
go
mean?
hand in hand, like yin and yang, like you go together. Like a man shouldn't be too feminine, a woman shouldn't be too masculine, because
Oh God, I
You-
can see them. I can see.
Jay, elaborate.
Why can't you just
Elaborate.
What I don't understand is that
You know-
we actually agree with the whole
You know
aspect
what,
of
yeah,
women being
anytime-
allowed.
any-
We actually
when
agree
my
as
man
black
says-
men.
No,
When-
never
when-
once
when-
said that.
That's
Do you know what it
what
was?
I'm
Do you know
saying.
what- no, wait, do you know what it was?
If you listen to what we say, we actually turn around and
Oh,
we say
shit.
we ain't got a problem with women being independent because we, as black men, love women to be independent because we also want to be independent so that when we come together we can form a partnership that's going to be
Yeah.
successful because that is how a relationship should be working.
All right, so pause on
we
that.
want
wait,
Pause on
wait,
that.
wait,
Pause
wait,
on
wait.
that. Jade, respond to.
You know what it
Can I say
was?
something quick?
No,
No,
wait.
no, Corey, wait.
Say
Respond to
something
me,
before she
Jade.
says
Respond.
This is a bit off topic. I'm just gonna say it quickly, but this whole idea of what's feminine and what's masculine are social constructs. It's something we've created. We've said,
Well, you
oh,
did it
that,
as soon as we walked in the room.
I didn't do this. She
No,
did.
that's
I didn't hear a fight for it.
I know, well, you didn't fight for it.
You
didn't
get
say,
up,
oh, that's
stand
nothing.
up,
But that's what I'm
stand
saying,
up
that's
for
something
you're
that-
right. I don't
that's
have
something
Listen,
that's
You just
something-
went with it. You went with it.
I brought wine.
Because
in
we
it.
messaged
So-
it in the group chat and we
Went
discussed that
with
we
it.
wanted wine.
Wine, that's
I
not-
didn't
that's
know
not
that
the
they wanted
point.
to make sure.
That's true.
What do you
But
know?
still, no, but even
Something
still,
different.
this
We're not
idea
gonna
of
go-
All right then.
feminism, like
So isn't
femininity
not-
and
isn't not-
masculinity.
So the feminism for Naomi then, she says, I'll bring wine for the ladies.
No, I said, does anyone want wine?
She didn't say
and the
for the
lady
ladies.
said yes,
Yes.
and you lot never said nothing.
Yes, if
So
you
I
brought-
thought
you
you
brought
were
the
there.
beers?
My cousin brought them. So the man in the room.
So
bought
why
beers
was
for
it?
you,
Why was it
man.
on our side and none of the beers on your side?
We
Because
could've
they
sat
asked
anywhere.
for the wine.
Yeah.
You want me to
You
put
could
it
have sat
on the
anywhere,
group chat?
I don't
but you
like-
happened
hold
to
on.
sit on the
If
opposite
I-
side
if I'm being
of where the beers was.
I don't like
Okay.
Budweiser. If that had been a Desperado
I-
Corona, I'd have been sitting on that
They
side.
asked
To be
for the
honest
wine.
with you, to be honest, but I don't like Budweiser.
I don't like Budweiser.
So that's why you're not drinking it.
No, I'm just saying, though, you know.
Do
the
you want
feminism-
wine? Is that what the
No,
problem
I
is?
wanted water.
Feminism is damaging your ability
But
to
feminism
drink rosé.
is just everywhere, and maybe I think the way that you two see things, I feel like, are you
Yeah.
seeing it from both angles?
Yes, I do
Can
see
I
it
say-
from
can I
both
say
Wait, do you not
something?
even?
I do see it from both angles. I'm a
Biggs,
mom. I've
listen
got
to
a
this.
son.
When you said your bit about femininity, you like men shouldn't be feminine.
Mm-hmm.
No one didn't say nothing. You know. You
I
didn't say-
rolled my
I didn't say anything at
eyes
all.
Hold on, can I get a word in?
severely.
Can I get a word in?
Oh my God.
As soon as Big said, "Yo, women shouldn't be masculine," I'm not gonna lie. You two shoulders went like that. You raised
Oh,
it.
whatever. I'm gonna have to watch the
Check the
playback.
camera. Check back the footage.
I see
You
it.
see?
I
You
see it.
understand? Check it.
But like I said, this whole idea of what's
Do you want your partner to have feminine ways?
I wouldn't mind.
What?
But listen,
No,
hold on a
don't say
minute,
no more.
hold
Don't
on
say
a
no more.
minute.
Don't say no
No,
more.
hold on a
Would
minute.
you like your
No.
partner Naomi to have
Hold
feminine
on,
ways?
because what are you calling
Feminine
feminine
ways.
ways?
Okay, now we're getting
Because
somewhere.
that's what we
Do
need
you
to
want?
clarify.
Because she just
What are
answered off the
feminine
rip.
ways?
Now that showed me Jade off the rip has got issues. You've got on everything I love. On everything, because the honest question
Didn't
is,
think about it. Didn't
what
think
is
about it.
What are feminine
yes,
ways?
that's the
Alright,
question.
okay.
You see you.
Okay.
God is watching you.
Fair enough.
When
Hold the hands
Jesus
up.
walks.
What are these feminine
When
ways?
Jesus walks. Basically,
Yeah.
do you want your man to be feminine?
Yeah, in what way? What
Be
are you calling
soft.
feminine? Do I want him to go and
Yes.
put makeup on and start wearing a
Jade,
dress?
you gotta
no,
relax.
I don't. No, I don't. But do I want him to be feminine in a way that he can communicate with me and have a conversation?
feminine?
Hold on, that's not
Well,
that,
people-
that's not
no,
feminine.
How is
if
that
a man
feminine?
shows emotion, men will say it's feminine. They'll say he's being a
I-
bitch.
Yes.
Oh,
Stop.
Stop, whoa. Wait, Xander, stop.
Are you being serious?
Let her
Are you being
land.
serious?
Let her land.
Are you serious?
Because you can
so
carry
are
on.
you
Carry
telling
on.
me
No,
that-
just carry on.
Hold on. Are
Carry
you
on.
telling me that society doesn't tell men that they should be strong? Don't
Don't
cry.
say nothing.
Don't
Nothing.
cry. Don't show emotions. Don't show your feelings. Don't talk about how you feel about things because that's feminine and that's a bitch thing to do.
Okay.
Is that not what society tells you?
If that's
And
what you
don't
believe,
tell me no lies.
don't say nothing. Show this. Would you like your man to be feminine?
No, does society?
Hey,
tell
don't
men-
jump in. Where you going?
I can't.
This ain't no tag team. This ain't no tag team. Show this. Would you like your man to be feminine?
No.
Okay then. Gentlemen, would you like your woman, to be masculine?
So how come you didn't jump
I
at
don't
them
wanna
for
be-
just
hold on,
answering
hold on,
no
hold on.
straight
Yeah.
away?
Because
what's masculine? What do you mean?
Masculinity is very different from being feminine. Now, you are supposed to have a partner who can communicate and be in touch with his emotions, but can he be feminine? No. You can't
I'm
be
not
feminine.
saying that
You
is
can-
feminine. I'm saying that that's
See,
what
this
you
lady
say
here-
is
Can I
feminine.
interject?
This lady here.
I want to interject slightly because
Mhm.
there's an issue with women talking about men and conversations and stuff like that. Because if a man is in touch with his emotions
Mhm.
often enough inside relationships, and I believe all of us men here
Mhm.
can agree to this, is if we was in touch with our feelings and our emotions
You'd
and
have
we
a better,
approach
longer-lasting
no
relationship.
wrong because
Whoa,
we,
that's wild.
Well, this,
That's
well,
wild.
well, this is
That's
what I'm
wild.
Well, this is what I'm
It's
so this
It's the truth.
This is what I'm going to touch
actually the
here.
truth.
This is
Sorry,
what I'm going to touch here.
Wait, wait,
Alright.
now, Sander. So you're saying
Alright.
if a man was more emotional,
In touch
his
with
re-
his emotions.
his
not
relationship
emotional.
with a woman would last longer.
Not
Okay, listen
emotional
to this.
if he was more in touch with his.
I could tell you now that every man in here
Mhm.
could probably turn around and say that at a certain stage inside a relationship with a black woman,
Mhm.
when they try to express their feelings
Mm-hmm.
or express something which they do not like with inside a relationship, the black woman will be very independent and will want to turn around and treat it as though a man is telling her what to do rather than trying to guide and direct the relationship so that it is successful, because a man's feeling inside a relationship is just as important as a woman's feelings inside a relationship. So there's no reason why a woman should look down on a man's opinion to which he brings forward into the relationship to say this is a problem with us.
I
So
don't have a
I'm not
problem
being
with that.
Women-
I disagree with
I'm
that.
not being funny,
I
Alex.
disagree with
But you
that.
see how you
Hold on,
talk-
I said the
wait,
men will sit here and would agree with me. Does any male in here disagree with me?
Nope.
No.
I don't
Okay,
disagree.
now listen to if there is no male that disagrees with me, that just goes to show that regardless whether you talk about men should be in touch with their emotions and whatever, the issue is also on the side of a woman, where a woman is feeling that her independence is so great and so bigger than the whole relationship itself. It breaks
It's
down
bigger?
the man's
Ooh.
relationship.
Yeah.
That is
No.
literally
No.
it.
No, it's
Nah.
not. I don't know.
Nah.
Maybe in some people, maybe that's some people's experience.
What
But
books
that's
you
not
read,
my
man?
experience. That's not my experience
When
at
Jesus
all.
was.
Why am I spilling today, you know?
I agree. I think if you was born, if you was raised, in a household where you wasn't allowed to get too emotional, I do believe it has a major impact. But I've also says, once men get over the age of 28, you're now allowed to learn for yourself how you want to be. So if your mum always told you stop crying, don't be a little bitch, then by the time you're 28, you know now, like, I've
Wait,
But do you
hold
know-
on a minute, hold
but
on.
do you know
Can we
really?
just stop 1 second? Because he just
Go on,
said that someone's mom tells him to stop crying and being a little bitch. And a minute ago, when I said that society tells men that having emotions and crying makes you a bitch and feminine.
No, you got a
Nobody
statement.
agrees
Oh no,
with
you
me.
got a statement out there for all men.
No
I'm
one
putting an
agrees with
example.
me, and now you
I
just
put an
said
example. You put a
being little bitch,
statement.
so I just
Yeah, but
wanted to bring that back.
Mine wasn't a statement.
No, but that was
Illustrated
Mine-
my
mine wasn't a
point
statement.
now.
But that's
It
Yours was a
illustrated-
statement.
But that's a
my
good
So you
point.
could have
example of that
signed your
statement.
statement.
That's a good example of
it.
it.
Singapore, they're getting all of this.
No.
It illustrated my point.
No, because society is the whole thing and family is just that one household.
Yeah, so that one
so I was just talking about the one household,
this is different-
and there's
this is a different point. So that's a
60,
different point.
65
But
million
it's
people in the
part of
UK.
society.
So what's that, 20
It's
million
within
houses? You're talking
society.
about 65 million?
When you talk
I'm
about
talking
society, what are you
households.
referring to? Are you not referring to
I'm
media?
talking
Are
to
you
the
not referring to what we see
collective.
outside?
I'm talking to the
So what you're
collective.
taught inside your house.
It's part of
Society.
society. That's
But you learn that
socialization.
somewhere else.
You're socialized in your own house before you're socialized
You know how
by
savage
the
you
outside.
are. Finish.
You're always dropping this thing down to culture. Now, let me tell you like this. When I used to work in banking a few years ago, I had three women on my team: black woman, white woman, and an Asian woman. I asked them all the same question. They sat together like this, and I said, if your man said to you, "Yo, I don't want you to go out tonight. I want you to stay in with me, or we're gonna do something together," what would you do? Straight away, the black girl said, "Yo, well, my mum told me no man can't tell me nothing, so I'm going out and I'm adhering to my plans with the girls." The white girl said, if he's got a reason and he's planned something for us to do, I'll do it. The Asian girl said, "Nah, I'm gonna stay with my man more time." You see, all them girls now, I'm still friends with them girls now. The black girls are single. Mother.
Yeah.
The white girl's married, 2 kids. The Asian girl's married, more than 2 kids.
This is the most convenient story
Oh my
I ever did.
Let me tell you like this. reckon when I don't want to say it, you know.
Go on, say it.
Listen,
We're there. Just
let
say
me
it.
know, no,
Just-
let me
The
know.
black man tries to tell the black woman something. He's come back straight away.
I was gonna say,
Raised like
raised differently.
You are.
Yeah, well,
Raised
this is what I'm
different.
saying.
It's
The white girl and the Asian girl.
No, but I disagree.
Thing is, what he's trying to highlight is not what the occasion is. He's highlighting what the woman is saying.
What her
what the
response
woman's
was.
response.
So I
is
would have said what the
completely
white
different.
woman said.
And
Depending
right.
on what's going on,
Right.
I make my
But
decision.
to
All
him,
of a
I'm
sudden,
gonna
you
say
would have
straight
said that.
no.
But I would have said that though.
Jay,
I would have said that
When we
though.
watch this back, you're gonna see how quick you react to things in the same
You know what
manner
I noticed?
Cora's talking about.
You know
You're
what
the
it
black
is?
woman
The camera
that
ain't
we're
lying,
trying
you
to
know.
say
But on
we
camera-
need to
on
you need to
camera-
change the way you think and be a bit more
open.
lenient on how you answer straight away, because we all come from Caribbean culture, so we all have a very quick temper to
Yeah.
snap back. So
Okay.
I would say black people are pretty similar to
Okay.
Incredible Hulk. If we want to get mad, ASAP, we're gonna get mad. Everything's
Nobody
mad.
can't tell
But you
Jay
see,
nothing, you know.
how old are you?
27.
Okay, so basically you still got a year for what I've said, what I believe in. By the time you get to 28, I would hope that how you answer things would be a little bit different, and I would hope, because I think
But
Naomi, I
different
think
how?
you're on the right level. Showdies, I think you're on the right level. I think Jade, I think the way you treat the black man at the moment, it just needs a little bit of tweaking,
Sounds like it.
and then you will live such a blessed life. I believe at the moment.
I don't know how you
all men is up on their
determine
phone.
how you treat her man. Like,
Oh
it's
no no
just
no
more
no no no!
conversation.
Can I just say
How
I
would
love
you
men.
determine how she treats
I
her
love
man?
men. I just don't trust all of y'all, but I love
That
men.
was the last person. On
From
the
my
list.
perspective of what I've seen and dealt with men, is I do genuinely love men. I love company of men. A lot of my friends are male, but I don't trust most of y'all because most of y'all are out to hurt women. Sometimes I feel like it's on purpose, even when certain things you do.
Showdies,
No, wait.
Showdies.
Even with
I've
certain
seen you
things
drinking.
with certain things you
Sorry,
do.
pause, because it's a
and
conversation.
certain things you have,
Pause.
I feel
You
like
and
you are genuinely
Pause.
out to just
Yo,
hurt
ladies,
as
you
many
need to
women
coach
as
Jada.
possible.
Show these.
So-
The statement that Jada's just made, it is her preference, it is her words. Do you think there's any truth for your point of view in what she just said?
She don't want to break
I
girl.
know.
Is we're not teaching our children correctly in how to hold and look after a relationship, how to care and look after men or women, regardless. You get what I'm saying? And because we're not teaching that, and we're not showing people from a younger age where they're at the stage where they can learn and absorb that information so that they can take it on as their own for them to be independent, because we're not teaching that to our own black society from young, and we're still teaching what we've been taught through the oppression that we've had, where it's now led to the society that we have today. Because we're still using that system and we ain't changing anything, we ain't teaching anything different. Of course communication is going to be down. There ain't going to be no good factors with regards to communication between the black community, because we're not being educated properly. The problem isn't for me with any of the isms, with feminism, racism, whatever ism you want to call. The problem has got nothing to do with the people of today and what's happened before. The problem is the people of today not thinking about how to change it for the future, because all I see is complaints about what feminism, like people with feminism or people with racism, you see complaints about it all the time. But how many people talk about a solution? What solution are we talking about? Because no one's talking about the solution in terms of how we're going to make the next generation better so that it's not the same for them. What we argue, about what's going on today. We just argue about what's going on today. Oh, men need to do this. Oh, men need to do that. Men should stop doing this. Okay, so men should stop doing that. But how?